Hey guys, welcome. Today we are going to be making low carb chicken Alfredo. And if you stick around to the end, I'll give you some ideas to make it a dairy-free recipe also. All right, for this we are going to need 2 ounces of cream cheese. To start, you are also going to need 4 tablespoons of butter, 3/4 a cup of heavy whipping cream. And then for the seasonings, we're gonna need some salt, pepper, Italian seasonings, or you can kind of eyeball a blend. You can make your own Italian blend. And then minced garlic, Parmesan cheese. You're gonna need your run-of-the-mill measuring cups and just a simple half teaspoon. The first step to making our own homemade chicken Alfredo is the heavy cream. And if you're like me, you struggle to open it, but that's okay. Now, I don't have a 3/4 measuring cup, so we're gonna wing it and just do a little bit less in the 1 cup measuring cup. It'll all be fine. That looks about right. Dump all of that delicious heavy cream into there. And then we'll put this over to the side just in case we need it in the next step. All right, we also need the butter. Who doesn't love all real delicious salty butter? It didn't say salted or unsalted, so I went with salt. We can always just add less later when it calls for it. The 2 ounces of cream cheese dumped right in there. And now we're gonna take it to the stove, and we are gonna start whisking this together until it's all melted and ready to go. Okay, so I swear my stovetop is as clean as it can get. I do not suggest buying this white flat top contact stove. It just always looks like that every single time you cook. You can get it off occasionally, sometimes it's harder than others. But for today's purposes, we're gonna cook on it anyway, so I didn't really care that it wasn't perfectly polished. We're using it anyway. It doesn't affect how your food comes out, and that's really the best part. So, we are going to whisk the heavy cream, the cream cheese, and butter on about medium-high until it melts. Then we're gonna move on and we're gonna add more of the seasonings that we need to really make it come to life as an Alfredo sauce. All right, so we have everything basically melted and smooth. Maybe whisk for just another couple seconds. Just there's like a little tiny chunk here and there of cream cheese that hasn't quite melted and mixed in. So we're just gonna kind of whisk it around, going with the flow before we start adding all of the seasonings that we need for this recipe. That looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna grab the seasonings, and then we will slowly start dumping those in the Parmesan cheese. Okay, so I have all the ingredients. I like to gather everything I need as close as I can, so I don't have to go running around looking for it or reaching for it. It's kind of lazy, but it's also just more convenient. Okay, so it calls for minced garlic, a half teaspoon. We're a garlic loving family, so I'm gonna do just a hair bit more. Err on the side of caution and always use more garlic. Then I like to kind of get rid of the ingredients out of the workspace. Then we need the trusty Italian seasonings it called for. We need a half a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. We're gonna whisk this real quick before it burns. Turn the heat down quite a bit. Then we're gonna try to measure this right into the teaspoon. A little bit. All that goes on in. And then it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 a teaspoon of pepper. We'll just kind of sprinkle just a little bit in the pepper shaker. Pretty Ray Dunn themed. Doesn't come out very fast, so it takes you a minute to get any off. But that's okay. Cream cheese on here. We're winging it. All right, so we have all of that, and then we need to add the Parmesan cheese. That is the most important part of making this delicious. We need exactly a half a cup. Got my measuring cups back out. Forgot about that part. Take a second to whisk this seasonings in. Now, dump in a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now, my family, we go through kind of an absurd amount of Parmesan cheese. Nothing wrong with that. So, we like to purchase this giant one from Costco. I'm sure they have it at Sam's Club, but Costco's our choice. And it really helps having a large amount on hand when you're cooking from scratch. So, we have all of the ingredients in that it calls for the Alfredo sauce. We're gonna whisk it together for just a minute or two. Then we're gonna let it simmer on low for 3 to 5 minutes, whisking occasionally. And then we'll be done with the sauce, and then we'll set it aside for when we need it later to go into the casserole on top of the chicken. Okay, now this recipe does call for cooked chicken. I didn't have any, so we're gonna do it right now. The oil I prefer to kind of use to grill up chicken is sunflower oil. So we're gonna just drizzle just a little bit in here. Get that out of the way. And now the recipe calls for 5 cups of cooked chicken. So I'm gonna take it out here and just chop it up over my pan. Why dirty another dish? You don't have to. You know, and I would like my pieces a little bit smaller. I feel like it's a little bit easier for my kids to eat. They pick at it less. Now I'm kind of picky. I don't like the stringy parts of the chicken, so I will take the time and kind of pull those out of each piece of chicken and not add that into the dish because I don't really care for it. My husband and the kids don't care for it. And I want everybody to eat this and enjoy it. You could also do chicken thighs. Those are a little juicier and richer, but use whatever kind of chicken your family prefers. You know, you want everybody to like it, so do what works. All right, so the chicken is back. It's starting to grill, stirred occasionally, but as that's kind of doing its own thing, cooking, I like to use that time to put everything away that I don't need anymore. Clean as you go kind of idea. So put the oil away. We are gonna need the Parmesan cheese, so we're gonna keep that out. We do not need the Parmesan or the garlic and the Italian seasonings, so let's get them out of the way. So this dish is like a no-bake or a baked casserole. So I just use a tinfoil pan, easy cleanup, less to worry about. We are gonna need Parmesan cheese still. And then we are also gonna need mozzarella cheese shredded. So I'm gonna keep those out and just kind of hang out and make sure our chicken gets fully cooked before we go on to the next step of this recipe. So another thing I wanted to do while the chicken was cooking, it's almost done, but it does require a crumb topping. If you really want it to be keto, you'd use pork rinds, but I don't have any, so I'm just gonna do the next best thing and mash up some crackers at the top. Maybe like a half sleeve or so. We like extra topping usually and extra sauce, so we're gonna go ahead. The easiest way I find, just put it in a Ziploc bag and crush it with your hands. It's easy. Some are a little bit bigger, so you get that salty, buttery, delicious taste of the cracker too. So I'm not gonna like pulverize it into dust because my family enjoys that extra crunch and that flavor. So a little bite here and there is perfect for us. Okay. So that's about right, about how we like it. Maybe a tiny bit more. And if that's not enough, when we come to topping it, I'll just toss the rest of the sleeve of crackers in the bag, do this whole thing over again, and then add it. But I don't want to crush up crackers if we don't need to. We can use them for something else. So our chicken is just about finished. I chopped them up nice and small. Now it doesn't look like a lot of chicken, and it's not, but our family is a family of 4, and one of our children isn't a huge chicken fan. So he might not eat it. He may just try it and eat a tiny bit. And myself and my husband have had gastric bypass, so we don't eat large portions as it is. We eat very small portions. So this works for our family. And probably a normal sized family is gonna need a lot more chicken than that. So now that we have the chicken cooked, we also have our sauce cooked. Now the recipe calls for just basically layering it into the pan. We're gonna move on to the counter to make it a little easier and get off the hot stove here. Okay, now we're gonna layer the casserole and get it in the oven. So I'm gonna light spray my pan. I did switch to a smaller pan than I initially did, because after looking at the chicken and the amount of sauce, it didn't really look like it would combine really nicely. It would look better and prettier and a little bit deeper. So this is something you could eat all by itself, or in order to stretch your meat, which is a great budget idea, would be to serve it with a low carb option like spaghetti squash, or or cauliflower rice. We'll probably serve ours with a little bit of cauliflower rice for whoever would like it, or also spaghetti noodles, because the kids are more into that. It's easier to feed the kids something they're familiar with. So then you do the chicken first, then you just kind of dump over all of your Alfredo sauce that you made. Let's get like every little bit out of here. So for a larger family, I would definitely double the recipe, because the amount of Alfredo sauce that we made is not very much. It's not going to be enough to, if our family likes a lot of sauce on their pasta, this is not going to give you a lot of sauce. Seeing that already, but I did sample a little bit of it, of course, and it tastes amazing. So I think definitely doubling the sauce next time. If my family enjoys this and we make it again, then we'll double the sauce and go from there. I think doubling would be just plenty. So you get all the chicken and all the sauce, and you kind of spread it all the way as even as you can. It'll melt down a little bit. These out of the way. Then it says in this order to sprinkle a thin layer of Parmesan over all of it. Who doesn't love extra cheese on everything they eat, right? So just a thin layer, because there's a lot of Parmesan in your sauce already. Then it says to do about a cup to a cup and a half of mozzarella on top. So we're gonna just sprinkle it all on in an even layer, best we can. And then we're gonna do the breadcrumbs on top of that. And then it's all gonna go in the oven. So get all the breadcrumbs that we smashed ourselves, or crackers, breadcrumbs, pork rinds, kind of whatever you like, whatever you have. Just kind of make it work. Try to get this evenly instead of all in one spot. Not always the most graceful, but we make it work. You spread it out with your hands as you need. And it looks like I did about the perfect amount. It was about a half a sleeve of Ritz crackers. I like to kind of pat it all down so the crackers kind of get stuck a little bit to where the cheese and the sauce. Then we are going to take this, and it's going to go into a preheated oven of 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Uncovered, just the way it is. Toss it in. Woo, that oven's already preheated, and open it. All right, close it up. We are gonna set a timer for 25 minutes, and then hopefully it's bubbly and delicious when we come back. All right, the 25-minute timer just got done, so we are gonna open this up. I like to kind of cancel this before I forget. Turn the oven off. Open up the oven. Oh, it looks beautiful, and it smells even better. I also have a little bit of pasta cooking on the stove. I'm cooking this today's dinner a couple hours earlier than actual dinner time. My kids are out of the house, so it's nice and quiet for filming. And so I'm gonna get a little bit of pasta ready so the kids can either eat it with the pasta, eat it plain, however they want to eat it. All right, guys. I can hear it sizzling away. It looks nice and crispy. The crumbs are nice and tight. The edges even have that kind of burnt cheese look, which we all kind of fight over who gets the little burnt cheese pieces, or not necessarily burnt, but darker. They get a little crispier and more savory. So, for now, I'm gonna try a little bite just to see if it's all it's cracked up to be. It's a new recipe we haven't tried before. So, I'm just gonna sneak a little bite out. Or maybe a big bite, and see how it goes. I mean, I'm gonna put it on a cracker, because that's the easiest thing. I can just kind of sample it really quickly and tell you if I like it, if I think you should try it or not. All right, I'm gonna try a bite and see how it is. Okay. The chicken is super juicy and tender. You can really taste all the Italian seasonings that we use in here. And I think that was a good amount if you like really flavorful food. If you like things a little bland, I will cut back on those seasonings just a little bit. Kids may enjoy it more, we'll see. Otherwise, I think it turned out excellent. I would definitely make it again. The only thing I would also suggest is doubling the Alfredo sauce when you make it, because this is a good amount for the really small portion of chicken that I used for our family that doesn't need that much chicken. But if you did go for the whole 5 cups that the recipe calls for, I would double the sauce so you have enough cheesy, delicious sauce for it all. So, my family, there's 2 of us that are dairy-free, and then there are 2 that are not. So occasionally, I'll make just one recipe using all dairy-free, or I'll make 2 different recipes, one for them, one for the other half. So this dish is great for the dairy-friendly family members. I might make another dish later on and use some dairy-free alternatives that work for my family. The simple way to swap it out is there's products easily available that you can go pick up. I have a dairy-free Tafudi brand of cream cheese. We needed cream cheese in the recipe. There's also plant-based butter, really inexpensive by Country Crock. I would use that instead of regular milk butter. Also, we use heavy whipping cream. Silk makes a wonderful replacement. You really can't tell the difference in flavor. The cream cheese on its own, you can tell the difference in the flavor. But when you add the Italian seasonings to this, you really can't tell as much. And if you're dairy-free already, you're used to the flavors of these different ingredients, so it's not a big deal in substitution. Now, it also calls for Parmesan cheese, and that I would use nutritional yeast. Great flavor, the cheesy flavor. It will, change it just a little bit more yellow than Parmesan cheese, but not enough to be off-putting or anything like that. So, I'd follow the exact same measurements for the ingredients and just swap out using the dairy-free alternatives for the next batch. All right, so this is how I feel like this recipe turned out great. So I will leave a link below with, links for these dairy-free alternatives, just in case you haven't seen them or you don't really know where to find them. So I'll do my best to link that below. As well, I will link the recipe from Pinterest, that's where I found it, in the description box below. All right, if you liked content like this video, please feel like you can subscribe and then you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Also hit the like button. That also helps me know that you like the content. Also, leave a comment below of recipes you may want me to make, or even if you made this and what you thought of it. I'd love to chat with you below in the comments. Have a great day.